Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Absalom checking in with you for another session today. How about a quick session? A jot and a tittle. Today I want to talk about biblical interpretation, interpreting the scriptures. So, let's go. Basically, we have a system of what we call hermeneutics that we use to interpret scripture. This can be done on a high level, a scholarly level, or even on a lay level. So basically, this hermeneutic system, it comes from the word the Hermes. Hermes is the mailman for the gods, so to speak. And so hermeneutics is a set of principles that are designed to apply to the scriptures. And what these principles do, they prevent man from, or woman, from applying their prejudices to the scriptures. There's two Greek words that I want you to write down. I want you to remember: exegesis and eisegesis. Okay? Exegesis is where we get our word exit from. It's to take out of the scriptures. We're taking out of the scriptures what the scriptures are saying. And then you have eisegesis, where you read into the scriptures. You're reading into it, making the scriptures say what you want them to say. So applying these hermeneutic principles also prevents people from applying their own prejudices to the scripture as well. All right. So let's go ahead and check out a list of these principles here. So we have the grammatical principle. Okay. The grammatical principle, just in short, suggests that you want to know or have some idea about the original language. Or like as for the New Testament, is you're going to want to learn Greek or learn a little bit of Greek in order to help open up the text, because it is a language. It is an ancient language, Koine Greek, and everything in Greek doesn't always translate well into English. Okay, and sometimes we miss. We do miss out a lot in translation, but for the most part is fine. So you have the historic principle. Okay, the historic principle wants you to understand what life was like for a first century Jew. Okay, understand what the customs were. Understand what the text. Because remember the Bible or the scriptures, the New Testament. It wasn't written specifically to us, but it was written to a specific group of people. Okay, in a specific time in history, in a specific place. So understanding the culture and understanding what the people how they understand the book, okay, is very important. You have the literal principle. The literal principle states that we take the scriptures in its literal and normal sense, unless the text indicates otherwise. Because the Bible is broken down. Okay, you have let's say didactic, which is the teaching aspects. So you'll find didactic in the New Testament. As Jesus goes along and teaches in his time here, and so the scripture should be taken in its normal, in literal sense, unless the text indicate otherwise. Like I said, sometimes the text will indicate that this is meant to be understood as a teaching, or it may be poetry. Okay, so we wouldn't interpret poetry in the same way that we would didactic literature or historic literature, okay? Because with poetic literature, now we won't take things literal, like things in the Psalms. We have anthropomorphic expressions being used when we say things like under the wings of the Almighty. Okay, these are anthropomorphic expressions. They're not meant to be taken literally when it says the hand of God, or things like this, like that, and so so like I say, you don't want to you don't want to apply a literal principle to a poetic text, okay? Because then you're gonna be all screwed up and you're gonna be all messed up then. So the literal principle, just like I said, take the scripture in its literal and normal sense, unless it indicates otherwise. Another device that's used is hyperbole. Hyperbole is an obviously intended exaggeration, not to be taken literally. Like when Christ says, "If your eye causes you to sin, then pluck it off, pluck it out." He's not giving you a prescription to mutilate yourself. No, that's a hyperbolic statement. Okay, so that's also allowable there. But here we won't apply the literal principle there to people digging their eyes out. Okay, now like I said, that is the indicator there that I know that a device or something else, some grammatical device, has to be being used here, because I know Christ wouldn't tell me to pluck my eye out if it caused me to sin. All right. Another one is the synthesis principle. The synthesis principle is it represents the scripture and the harmony of scripture all coming together as a whole. We have to understand this, and I don't know, maybe a lot of people may not agree with this, but the scriptures cannot be interpreted by people. Men cannot interpret the scriptures. Okay, scripture can only interpret scripture. If ever you come to a portion of scripture that you interpret, and this scripture contradicts another scripture. Okay, if your interpretation of a scripture contradicts another scripture, then your interpretation can never be correct, because the scriptures never, ever, ever contradicts themselves. All right? And I always say, if anyone can ever represent a valid contradiction in the scriptures, then, send it my way. Okay? Anyhow, so you have the literal, you have the synthesis, you have the historical, you have the grammatical principles. And once you apply these things to the text as you're hoping to interpret the text, then it'll help a lot of things open up for you. The grammatical principle is important. Let me show you something. Why it's important to understand, to know, to learn some Greek. I'm not a Greek scholar or anything, but I'm working on it. Just a minute here. Let me go to them. Give you a quick little example here. One of my favorites. Okay, Just a second. I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to find something here. I'm trying to find something. Oh, here we are. Okay, so I'm right here in Luke, chapter 23. I'm in Luke chapter 23, verse 34. All right. Dirty now. So it says, then Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. Okay. I hate doing that, just reading a little bitty piece of it. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to go back up a little bit and give us a little bit better context. That's another thing. Always remember, if you're going to read, don't just take a little bitty tiny verse of scripture and try to build a whole theology on top of it. Go all the way up a little further to the beginning of the scripture. Read the whole thing, the chapter. Read the whole thing and try to stay in context. Okay. But anyhow, it says there were also two other criminals led with him to be put to death. And when they had come to the place called Calvary, and there they crucified him and the criminals, one on the right hand and the other on the left. Then Yeshua said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Okay. Now, in the Greek, the word here it says that then Jesus said. Okay. Now, the word said here is the Greek word epen. So, this is used, the writer, Luke, the tense, remember what I said, is part of the grammatical principle is understanding the tenses of the main verbs and stuff. So here, then Jesus said, epen. Okay, so look, the tense there that's used is called it's called it's not the aorist, it's the somebody help me here. What tense is this? This is I guess I'm a little nervous making the video, making me forget. Okay, this is all right. So the past tense is used, but the type of tense that it is, it shows continuous action, usually occurring in the past. Okay? I can't remember the name of the tense. I'm sorry. But anyhow, that's what it breaks down. It's continuous action, usually occurring in the past. So when it says that then Jesus said, the action is continuous. So now the author had an opportunity here to make it a present tense. That means that Jesus said it one time and that's it. Then the action is complete. But he didn't use that. He didn't use it. He used a tense that gives continuous action. And because it's continuous action, the author doesn't give a time when specifically when it stopped. All right. Now in the English version here, it's used in the present tense. and Jesus only says it once. But no, in the Greek, the continuous is used. So we understand that Jesus said this over and over and over again. Probably until he gave up the ghost. So my point is this. When we're reading an ancient Greek text in English, everything doesn't always transfer over. So like I said, here it's only used once. It says that Jesus said it once. But in the Greek it says that he said it more than once, over and over again, continuously. Continuous action usually occurring in the past. All right? Hold on, let me see. I think I got another note right here. So let me check it out. Verse 34. This is what my note says. In red, it says the continuous aspect is used in the Greek. What most translation obscure is Yeshua said this over and over. Okay, epen. It is explicitly continuous. So that's my own note. That has so that's very important. So the grammatical principle is important because, like I said, it helped bridge the gaps with things like this. In the Greek, there's more tenses than there are in English, and so the Greek do have a lot of neat devices as far as grammar stuff is concerned. But anyhow, yeah. So I just wanted to share this with you about hermeneutics, about interpreting the Bible, because there's so much bad doctrine out there. There's so many terrible teachers. Because of in the United States, it's so liberal here. You know, you just can go sign up at the Corporation Commission and get a 501(c) status and go throw up a church anywhere. You know, and your theology doesn't have to be sound or anything. And it's a lot of unsound teachings out there because people they don't use things like devices like hermeneutics. You know, did you know hermeneutics is even used? There's a hermeneutic system just like this that's used to interpret the American Constitution. Okay, so that people don't apply their own prejudices and their own and perform eisegesis and make the Constitution say what they wanted to say. So the hermeneutic system there prevents, personal prejudice being applied to the Constitution, and so also with our text as well, which is pretty much more important than the American Constitution, to be honest with you. So yeah, we need to treat it with diligence if you want to interpret the scriptures. Remember what it says in the book of in the book of James 3. It said not all should be teachers. For those who decide to, if you want to teach the scriptures, you will be held with a stricter accountability. Okay? Because you're accountable for leading or misleading the people of God. And like God said of the little children, he was speaking literally of the children there, but allegorically, he was speaking of us as well. If you harm or if you mislead one of these little ones, of mine, that it will be better for you to tie a millstone around your neck and to jump into the ocean. All right. So we want to interpret the Bible correctly. It is very important that you don't make God say something that he didn't say, or make God do things that he didn't do. Okay? That comes so close to blasphemy. You almost already ruined, okay? When you do that. So try this. Look into hermeneutics. Look into there's a lot of systems. There's some other systems out there as well. like the medieval quadriga, and I don't think they use that anymore, but there are some other systems out there. But yeah, use the system, the grammatical, historic, the literal, and the synthesis principles that all comprise this hermeneutic system. And it is very important that you master these, and that you get these down, and that you apply them to the text if you're going to interpret scripture. All right, so that's another segment. So done out the way. Not that it was ever in the way. Excuse me, but deuces. I'm out. Thanks for joining me. I'm Absalom Shakur. Leave your comment at the bottom. Leave your question at the bottom. Subscribe, and I'll see you next time.